Hello everyone, Amy here with Gingerbug Creations. Today we're going to go over some masculine cards. I don't know about you, but I make a lot of cards that are very much of the feminine style, and making masculine cards isn't always easy, doesn't come easy for me. So today we're going to go through a technique that I've seen all over YouTube. You may have seen Jennifer McGuire do it. You may have seen Simply Stamping with Connie Stewart, or Texas, or is it TX Stamping with Sharon Armstrong? Anyways, there's a lot of amazing tutorials on this, and people call it different things. So today I'm going to call it a funky fold card. What it basically is you've got your card here, and then you open it, and you have this really cool inside effect and outside area. I am sorely lacking for good words today, but you know what I mean. And then this one is just a different die that I used, and I'm doing it in more of the portrait card style. These are both A2 cards. So today we're going to go through this style. So what you're going to do is you're going to want for your, let's build our card base first. And I'm not going to do exactly this card, but we're going to do something extremely similar today. So first you're going to want to get a piece of your cardstock for your base. And this is going to measure out at 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I'm currently using, this style anyways, is a craft paper from the Paper Studio, which is a Hobby Lobby brand. I got it on clearance for an extremely low price. So if you know me, I love my deals on craft supplies. So I'm going to go with this. I chose this paper or design. And then you're going to want, on top of your card base here, you're also going to want to get a piece of scrap paper for your front sentiment. I took 2 dies in my collection, these 2 nesting dies, and I wanted a bigger circle and a smaller circle. So this blue paper was cut with this larger circle, and then the cream colored was cut with smaller circle. So you're going to want 2 of the big ones, actually 3. So 1 will go inside for you to write your sentiment on. And then the 2 back pieces on your front and inside. And then you're going to want to cut a smaller circle to go in each of those. So all total, I have 5 here. And you can go through your supplies and choose whatever you want. Go through your dies. If you have a Cricut, design a few shapes if you want, but this particular technique that we're going to do today is really best used with a die cut machine. So let's get started on just building our base for a moment. And what we're going to do is once you cut it out, there are 2 scoring measurements that you want to do. So I am bringing out my scoreboard and trimmer. And then what I'm going to do is, this one down here is my score blades. So I'm going to want to make sure I don't use the cutting blade. So I'm going to go at 5 1/2 on the long side. On your 11-inch side, you're going to score it at 5 1/2. And then we're going to go 2 3/4. Okay. Now this is some pretty heavy cardstock. So I am also going to go back in and do it on the back side, just to kind of give it a little bit extra. So again, we're going to go, make sure we measure twice, score once. And so that was at 5 1/2, and then we're going to go 2 3/4. Now I wanted to use this particular trimmer and scoreboard only because it has these flat edges, which for me helps me to cut things a lot easier. Or not cut, I'm sorry, helps me to fold things. So what I'm going to do here, move the blade down to the bottom so I don't accidentally catch that. And then what you want to do is just make sure that it's lined up down here. I like to push in from the side just to make sure I'm going to get the best I can. We're just going to start that fold. And where's my other one? Oh, here it is. And we're going to take the score line that was at the 2 3/4. And actually, nope, I did it wrong. So we're going to want it to face in. Sorry, you want your pattern to be facing each other on the inside, because when you fold this back, it's going to be, you're going to fold a mountain and then your valley. So this will be your card base. Let me just make sure I got that in right before I give a good score. You can train paper to do what you want it to do. So it's a lot easier actually to fix your score boo-boos than it is to fix like a cutting boo-boo. So then just come in with your bone folder or whatever tool you use to give a good, nice, crisp crease on your fold. And then on this fold too. Okay, so now we've assembled the base, and what we are going to want to do is we're going to do some die cutting, but I'm not ready to do it yet because there's something else I want to die cut as well. So I'm going to hold off on this base. We're going to put it on over to the side. Okay. What we're going to do is some stamping. So I have brought in my Misty Stamper stamp positioner. And I brought this in because it is literally the easiest thing for me to get my stamps just right. And I'll tell you why. When we're going to do a little bit of embossing today using embossing powder. And it's not always some people don't like how it comes out and you want to redo it. Well, if you're using just a regular stamp block, it's kind of hard to get your ink and everything right in the same exact spot when you want to emboss or use embossing powder. So my advice is to come in with the stamp positioner, and then if your embossing powder doesn't come out right, or you don't like the way it looks, then you can always fix it, because then you know you're gonna be able to stamp it in the exact same spot. So I am using a Stampin' Up set called He's All That, and it is a red rubber stamp, so they are a little thicker. So I took out my black matte that is usually in the Misty. I'm gonna make sure that's right in the corner. Oopsie. Down went the stamps. Okay, so I want to make sure it's easily in the corner, so if I have to do this again, it will be easy to get it in the right spot. And then what you want to do is whenever you're embossing, you want to use some sort of an anti-static powder. And I think this is just a Ranger one I picked up at Michael's, and I just put this massive clip on it to kind of hold the bag. There's different embossing tools on the market, so it's just powder, doesn't hurt anything. All right, so now I'm going to come in and I'm going to use some Versamark ink. I'm going to lightly kiss it onto my rubber stamp here. And then we're going to put it on. I like to use a brayer tool just to kind of give the same amount of pressure all over the stamp. Now this watermark, the Versamark, watermark stamp pad is it's clear. So depending upon the color of the paper that you're using it on, you may not be able to see it. You might be able to see it here on the craft, but I'm going to do it one more time. Ooh, that might have shifted on me. The Versamark ink for your embossing powder, it's very sticky, and you want that because you want it to be able to grab onto that embossing powder. So you're going to just kind of lightly sprinkle a layer of embossing powder on. And that powder that you put on will help this black from transferring where you don't want it to. Okay. Let me put my lid on this because I don't think I'm going to have to go back in again. When you're doing a really fine stamp and you're embossing, you probably don't want to go too heavy because this small writing, such as the wishing you a happy, it can get muddy if you get it too thick. That's just a little tip. And when you are using your embossing powders, because you are using a heat gun, you always want to make sure you protect your surface. So I'm protecting my mat with this silicone mat. It will take high heat. I'm going to take a small little brush here, and anything I might see that resembles any powder, I'm going to try and get it off. Won't be perfect, but we don't do perfect. Okay, so now that I'm going to grab my heat tool here. It's always best to kind of heat your heat gun up off to the side for about 30 seconds, just so that you are making sure that you're getting the most even heat you can on your project. All right, and we're just going to come in and you apply the heat, and you're going to see the embossing powder turn like shiny. Shiny and even is what we're going for. And if you don't know, sometimes people are like, oh, I'm so scared of my embossing powders burning. That's okay. Just play with it. Because more often than not, I haven't heated it up long enough to get the powders to really melt. Okay. Well, guess what? It looks like it muddied up. Well, we're gonna go with it. Okay, so now that I have this done, let me let it go ahead and cool off. And while this is cooling off, we are going to work on our base. We're gonna do some cutting. Okay. So you may be asking me why I have a random white circle that I did with the large die. I did it with the same die that I want to use on the front of my card, the largest one. And this is why. When you do it on a copy paper and then you fold it in half, you have yourself a crease. So that when you go to put your die on your card, you know exactly where to line it up, because you're going to line this crease up with this fold. Now, why is that important? Well, let me show you. I thought I could be cool and I could just go ahead and line it up by eyesight. And it looks okay on this side, but over here, I had to come in with a little piece of paper. Let me show you my oopsie, just to try and fix it, to hide it a bit, because you might be able to see there's a little gap between the blue and then this edge here. And when I tried to line it upright, it was funky no matter what I did with it. And that is my fault because I didn't take the time to center this up. And the funny thing is, if I actually wanted to, I could just save this and use it for more cards if I'm going to be doing this process with again. Y'all, I cannot find words this morning. I have been trying to film for days and I'm just in a lot of pain, a lot of back pain. It's been hard to sit and it's almost just kind of taken my breath away. So I'm really trying to, I just want to craft and film, y'all. This pain stinks, so it's taking my brain, like I have brain fog. Okay, so line up your copy paper with your fold line, the little creases. Then you're going to put your die over pretty much where you want it to be, okay? Oops, sorry. All right, then I'm going to come in with a little bit of low tack. I think this is washi tape that I put on my pants just to get the sticky out. And I just want to tape it down. So here's the thing. You do not want to cut this whole circle out of the front of this card. What you want to do is only cut from, I don't know how to explain it. You're going to want to cut just this part up to this line from this edge here, not the long part of the card. Okay, not this part. No, 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 no. We want this part. Okay. So how we're going to do that, let me grab my die machine off to the side because this table shakes anyways, and it does not need to be shaken any more than it already is. Okay, let's grab our stamping or our platform base. Okay, so what you want to do is you're going to put, killing me, Smalls. Okay, you're going to put this onto your base, and then you're going to put your top plate, and forgive me, actually, I have a really warped plate that I need to fix, and I just haven't done it yet. Okay, so what you want to do is, especially with you want to line up the edge of this with this. You want to line up the edge of your top plate with your score line here. You do not want it to go past that. And the reason for that is your machine will only cut, your die cutting machine will only have it go through to where you have it. So hold please, and I will get this done. Okay, so bring this off so you can see what it did. Pop these off to the side. Okay. So as you can see, it only cut to your score line. Yay! It's exactly what we wanted. Okay. Now, I'm going to be honest. I've been sitting here staring at this, and I do not like how this came out. Not one bit. So, I know we don't do perfect, but man, I need it to look a little bit better than that. Okay. Let me come in with my VersaFine Onyx Black. And because I didn't take this out, the stamp, it's still loaded because, like I said, you never know when you're going to need it. Let me do a quick spray just to clean off that Versamark embossing ink. done. Let's get our paper back in, and let's just, let's flip it over. I'm just going to stamp it on this side. Ink it up. I don't think I'm going to have to do this twice, but we'll see. You never know with the black ink. The VersaFine is a really good ink to use if you are not planning on doing any coloring and you want all of your fine details to come out from your stamp. So let's try this. I use it primarily for sentiments when I want it to. There we go. That's nice. That's very nice. Okay, let's clean this one more time because I have one more stamp to do. All right, so first I'm going to go ahead and put this Father's Day stamp away. And then we're going to bring out this stamp that was donated to me. It's from Deep Red. It's the Rusty Truck. This is probably really old, maybe vintage, I don't know. But this is what it looks like. So what we are going to do is bring in okay. All right, let me see how I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to bring in this little tool that I got from my Misty. And what I want to do all right, I want to try and get it. So I kind of made a mistake. I thought I would save some time and have everything already pre-die cut, but what I forgot was I stamped this and then die cut around the stamp. So we're going to see how it's going to work just by leaving it like this. Let's take this out. Let's use our VersaFine. So we are designing this just a tiny bit different than the sample card. A few of the colors are different. Our front sentiment's going to be a little bit of a different shape. So all right, let's see how this is going to come out. I really don't want to have to do this twice. Okay, we're gonna have to do it twice. Let's hope nothing moved. It's all right. There's no crying in card making, so that's why I don't do perfect. There's no point in crying over a craft. So if it's not perfect, it's okay. All right, I think that's pretty good. All right, so I'm just gonna put this off to the side. I will clean that later. All right, so while we're letting that dry, I'm gonna do one more die cut. So now for my front sentiment, I wanna do this tag die. This was donated to me. I do not know who makes it. There was a whole bunch of this color of dyes. So if you happen to know this dye or who made it, comment below, please. I would like to know. All right, so then I'm just gonna do that. And we'll do this side. All right, hold please. Let me run this through my die cut and then we can assemble our card. Oh, that came out so cute. Okay. So now we have all of our pieces, but one more step. But wait, there's more. I know this is a little bit of a longer process. But sometimes the men in our lives need just a little bit more, attention. I really don't think my husband would care how much attention is into his card, quite honestly, but that's all right. I will say he cares. Okay, so what we're going to do is I like to ink up in this. If you'll see, I inked up the edges of the cream colors. The front one a little bit more than the insides. So the first thing I want to do is come in with the Distress Ink in Walnut Stain. And let's do, this is going to be our front one for the sentiment. So what I'm just going to do is go along the sides here, and I want this good and dark. I want it to have a nice, and this is okay, but I just love the distress look as it goes into different colors and the different mattes, so I just feel like it makes things pop. So we're going to do this one. We'll do our sentiment in the Walnut Stain. Okay, so I did that one. And let's do the Walnut Stain. Let's just do Walnut Stain on the outside of all of them for right now. Oh my gosh, I stamped the wrong side. Oh well. We don't do perfect. It's okay. Another thing about men, I highly doubt my dad is gonna say, oh, as he's looking at the card, Amy, you inked the wrong side. One thing about being a daddy's girl is they think you can do no wrong and everything is perfect. Okay, and last one with the Walnut Stain. This is going to go on the inside of your card for writing. Okay, now we have our Walnut Stain done. However, for this front one, I want just a little more interest. So what I'm going to do is actually come in with the Distress Ink in Vintage Photo. And this, we're going to just get messy. We're just going to get messy. I really want it to kind of come up into this part of the card, of the circle here. A lot of times, just using a Distress Ink just gives things a totally different look. If you can ink up tone on tone, I highly suggest, if you haven't tried inking, to go get yourself some supplies and try it. Okay, so see how it just added a little bit more of that interest. Now it's time to glue everything together. That's it. We are almost done, folks. We are in the home stretch. Okay, I'm gonna come in. My favorite adhesive to use is Art Glitter Glue. There is zero glitter in this. It's just a name. It dries clear. It is so great. You just need a little bit. Little bit goes a long way. So it doesn't warp your paper. Okay. So inside, 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 and these are gonna go out. So what I'm gonna do, take out the pen or the pin from my glue. All right, and we're just gonna put a little bit on here. And we're just gonna try and line it up as best as possible. And it's not gonna be perfect. But there is still a little bit of a gap, but I'm not going to complain because it's a lot less of a gap than it was before. So, and again, highly doubt my daddy's gonna say, "Oh, I see a gap." All right, now we're going to go ahead and glue the mat on top of this front. And you can glue your mats in any order you want. You can decorate the fronts of them before you place your layers on. I personally feel it's easier for me to get a layer in place if it's just, there's nothing else on it. Okay, and now we're gonna put this front tag on, or this sentiment tag that we made. And do I want it straight? You know what, let's go straight. And I like using wet glue because you do have a little bit of wiggle room. I know a lot of people love like double-sided tape. I personally don't do well with double-sided tape. It just, once it's down to the paper, it's done. I have ripped so many papers using that tape. There's some things it's good for, but for me and card making, no. So then we're going to take our back circle that's going to be on the back when you open your card here on the inside, I guess. We're going to line it up. Okay, and then we are going to put the inside one on. I really like the black with the black, and I grew up with the whole black and brown should not be mixed together. I don't know, it's kind of the same lines of don't wear, was it pink and red, or, oh, my mother dressed me that growing up. Mama was like, she loved me in pink and red. I have pictures somewhere. Okay. So here's how I personally got this to fit to where you don't see anything. If you want it like that, you can totally glue it like that. You would want to make sure you try to only write on this side. However, I tend to think that, you know, someone might have a card up like this. And so I just kind of would prefer, it's the OCD in me, that everything goes even. So what I did was I lined it up with this circle, and then I went ahead and threw some glue on it. I know it looks like I'm putting a lot on, but really I'm not. And then I'm just laying it down. Putting my pin back in my glue because you do not want this stuff to dry up. All right, now there's one more thing I want to do. Okay. I am going to be just a small thing. These are called Nuvo Stone Drops, and it's just a little bit of a textured detail. And this one is an Inkwell Black. A little hint, take a piece of scratch paper when you are using, whether it's Nuvo Drops, ColourPop, anything like that, start it out on a little piece of paper first so that you make sure you're not, if there's an air bubble, it's gonna go the sound just like that. And you're gonna have to not to deny that you pooted. And then also there's gonna be splatter all over. So you don't want that. Just take the time. Don't get accused for pooting. All right, I'm just gonna fill in that hole there. And so there is a little bit of a peak, kind of comes out like a Hershey Kiss. So what you can do is I take a bone folder and I just tap it from the bottom. And sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. I'll be honest with you. I can actually get the ColourPop brand to flatten a lot better than I can anything else. So a hint is wait like an hour or two if yours isn't going to flatten it. Maybe my room was cold. Anyways, I have done it to where if it doesn't go away, wait like until just the outer part is dried. You normally want to give this about 24 hours, especially if you used liquid dimensionals like that. But in about an hour or two, I can come in and press it down. It'll still be a little bit pliable and I won't have to worry about it getting on my fingers, and then I can flatten it a little that way. And as I'm staring at this, there's one more thing I want to do, which is let's round these corners. Let's see if I can, I don't know if I can do this many. Probably should have done that before. I'll just work around it. That's what happens sometimes. You get ideas. Oh, that did not go in right. Okay. I'm just making sure this lines up. I love this corner rounder, however, every once in a while, wants to act up. So we rounded our corners there, and let's just round these corners, just one extra little touch. All right. And there we have it. There's our masculine funky fold. I'm going to call this a funky fold. And funky fold Father's Day card. Then on this one, just I'll go over it real quick. So I did not have any rectangle dies in my stash that would actually work. A bigger one, I should say. I had this one, so I used it. I did cut it on plain Hobby Lobby Paper Studio 65-pound cardstock as a base. That's what I used. And then I took a stamp out of that same stamp set that was it All About Him, or oh gosh, He's All That, the Stampin' Up set He's All That. It came with different stamps, so I did a tone on tone. I used a navy blue ink and stamped all along the inside with Love This Guy, and then I outlined the insert with that. Used the number 1. I did use that rusty truck. So this one was okay. It came out okay. Here's other dimensional dots I used, just to kind of show you I was able to push some of these flat before they dried all the way. So I just kind of wanted to show you what I did on this one versus, it's just a few tiny, I did a portrait style versus landscape. So there you have it. If you have any questions about these cards, let me know. Thanks for hanging in with me. If you've made it this long, that means you have helped me overcome my brain fog, I guess, just by sticking through this. I appreciate it. And if you have brain fog, if you have any autoimmune diseases, if you're disabled, go ahead and comment below on things that you find help you when you're kind of riding the struggle bus for the day with health health issues. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.